Welcome to this edition of the Boob Tube Buddies podcast, featuring our discussion of the FX original series Fargo, episode 7 of the 3rd season, entitled The Law of Inevitability. Just a couple of quick bits of information before we jump into it. You can check out all of our content at www.boobtubebuddies.com. You can also follow us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, and Reddit. Or you can just email us at boobtubebuddies@gmail.com. So let's just go ahead and fire it up. My name's Foxman, and I'm joined by the disbelieving police captain to my tinfoil hat-wearing deputy. What's up, Nathan?
Hey, how's it going? Man, you jumped right into one of my big points for this.
I had to throw it in there because honestly, it's one of my greatest frustrations with the season is like just the fact that this guy refuses to review any angles at all.
The absolute most logical angles, too. Like, they make so much sense. And this is something we've talked about multiple times in this series, but just that frustration in television in general. Like, I just rewatched the first season of Homeland, and effectively there's, like, you know, a CIA agent who believes something that she has, like, all rights to believe, like, and it makes a lot of sense. But just based on nothing, just based on wanting to, like, jerk himself off, like, her chief is like, no, you know?
It's incredibly frustrating. And especially, that's Carrie, right? As the main character's name?
Yeah, it's Carrie, yeah.
Like,
she thinks that Nick is a terrorist.
And she is isn't she relatively well thought of in terms of as a professional? Like, she does have her issues, but in terms of the intel that she gathers, she's
bipolar, but no one knows that in season 1. All she's known is that she's a really well-respected, she's great at going and getting assets, and the intelligence that comes back to her is always well thought of, and the logic of, like, the reason that she thinks that is sound. It's just that they don't want to believe. I don't know. There's, like, a small coincidence involved in her life and the fact that she thinks this guy's a terrorist, and because of this small, tiny coincidence, like in this case, it's in Fargo, it's the small coincidence of the Stussy thing. It's like, oh no, we gotta disregard that. It's just a coincidence.
Well, and a huge part of it is, I think, the lack of willingness to believe in inconvenient truth, which I guess is actually a very real thing in society.
But what do you lose by choosing to believe it?
And not even choosing to believe it, but just choosing to investigate
go down that path. Yeah, just go down that path a little bit. And so in this episode, Gloria lays out probably the best, 30-second summary of exactly
her elevator
what
speeches are goddamn amazing. We talked about it last week. Like, her and Winnie definitely need to be doing summing it up in a tweet here, because they could wrap that shit out real nicely.
Because this is the second time we've made this point. Gloria succinctly manages to sum up exactly what has actually happened, although she doesn't know it actually happened, but she believes it actually happened. But she gets it nail on the head, and then just... her chief just stands there like, see, this is what I'm talking about. She's crazy.
Yeah.
What?
Have you seen Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, any of those kinds of movies?
Yeah, yes.
So his partner, the secondary guy, the kind of big, goofy, super
Nick
funny
Frost?
guy. Exactly. Yes, thank you very much. What was the city that they're in here? Shit. Whatever, the police captain, not the one who's all disbelieving, but the one who's actually his jurisdiction.
Eden Valley.
No.
The one I see the one.
City.
I know what you mean.
Yeah. That guy to me looks so much like the guy from Hot Fuzz.
I can see that. Well, I was so hoping that now that we had this second person listening to her story, and I'm looking at this guy now, and I can totally see he looks
right. I mean, it's just the same archetype of a person.
But I thought that maybe this guy might, listen and be like, oh, wow, why didn't we think about it that way? And then get mad at the chief who's like, why didn't you go down that path? And finally we'd be on sort of act 3 of this where everyone finally believes Gloria. But we're still just trudging along with no one actually believing her at all.
Do you think it's like a patriarchal type of thing? Like a from whom? Like a sexist sort of thing? Like a misogynist?
Maybe, but this guy seems relatively smart. I just can't imagine sexism preventing you. I'm just going to get slammed for this because this happens daily in society. So I can imagine this, but it just seems so ill-sighted to let sexism get in the way of a sound, mathematically sound argument.
I mean, yes, I get what you're saying, but keep in mind we're one episode removed from Varga talking about sneaky fat Jew ladies, so...
True, I guess, whatever. Rules don't apply in the world of Fargo.
That is true. Plus, small town America doesn't always, especially older people in small town America, don't always have the most progressive views on women and honestly,
True.
anything like that. So,
and he can be a sexist fuck, but he's a bad police chief if he listens to a theory that is appropriate and could actually help solve a crime and then just ignores it out of hand because it came from
absolutely. Well, we're definitely on the same page on that. Let's do what we normally do here. Honestly, that's probably more conversation generated pre-summon it up in a tweet than we normally have, but
it is, but it leads in well because I mention it in my tweet.
Absolutely does, and so do I. So so anyway, this is 140 characters or less used to summarize the entire episode, a little segment that we like to call Summon It Up in a Tweet.
Oh yeah, we're summon it up, so summon it up, summon it up, oh yeah, we're summon it up, oh yeah, we're summon it up, so summon it up and up.
Tweet.
Let me find it. Man, I had my notes all ready to go.
Oh, I should, by the way, say that I totally lied. My Summon It Up in a Tweet is not on that. It is about something that we discussed heavily last episode that I thought played into this episode as well.
Ooh,
so
okay, I'm interested.
That's it.
Points.
Just teasing it.
All right, so here we go. You ready?
Yes, sir.
Nikki gets picked for her... Oh, damn it. Okay, I'm going to start over. Nikki gets picked for a murder quite gory. The chief still ignoring her logical story. While Varga rips gifts till he gets what he wants. Merry Christmas to all, and to all, a wet schwanz.
Oh, it's so good. I'm so proud of you. And by the way, we had somebody write in on our YouTube page saying that a schwanz is just a German word for dick.
Great, perfect.
Yes, so and you know what? I loved it because it was probably the most. Actually, no, it was probably the only maybe nice and helpful YouTube comment that we've ever got. And
hey, just so you know, and it's about dicks. Most YouTube comments that are also about dicks, like those two things don't add up to like helpful and nice and polite.
That is true. Although I will say we were called out, and rightfully so, on slamming the Minnesota Gophers, which are an actual like collegiate team earlier in the season on YouTube, and it wasn't in the meanest way possible. It was pretty factual that we're just
wait. No. Who am I offending if I say like fuck the Gophers? Like what percentage of our audience base gets offended if I hate the Gophers?
I'd say like 0.7%, but
I'm willing to offend them.
You
I don't
to
like
hit
that team.
on one of them earlier in the season, and man, he was rip roaring mad at you.
Damn it.
No, but he's actually been funny. He's written in a bunch of stuff. But okay, you ready for my Summon It Up in a Tweet?
Oh yes, please.
Everyone acts so fucking guilty, especially Emmett. Though the beans weren't spilt, he doesn't need a polygraph to show that he's lying. Varga should have focused on the cover-up and less time spying. And that is Summon It Up in a Tweet.
Okay, all right, you've really critiqued now this story.
Okay, but this is what we talked about last week is like, I mean, you don't have to be like the world's greatest fucking liar to sit there and not look like you're the guiltiest human being ever. He comes up when Winnie comes into the hunting lodge restaurant area, and it just like instantly launches into his alibi before he even knows
I've been
what's
here
going
all night.
on.
Yeah. Oh God. He's dead? Oh God! I said I've been here all night again.
So let's just review my alibi, eh? I mean, it's insane that he feels like he has to leap into that.
Yeah,
it's just so frustrating. Like nobody would act like that in that situation.
So he's drunk, right?
Presumably, I don't think that he is actually drunk. I think that that's more of like their excuse for him acting that way. I don't think he's actually drunk. Is he? When did we see him drinking in excess?
I didn't. I guess you're right. They would have shown that if that were the case. I just assumed he was acting like such a dumb shit that he
a schwanz.
Yeah, she was acting like such a schwanz that he had to be drunk, but I guess not. They were drinking at the table, and so Emmett starts out by describing, I don't know her lady, but the lady from Battlestar Galactica plays the president.
Goldfarb?
Yeah, she's the funeral lady, or the
rich
what does she
widow lady?
Yeah, but what did they sell? Another type of storage.
I don't recall offhand. That might be right. Funeral plots or something. I really don't recall.
Yeah, they keep they keep making the joke it's another type of storage.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, yeah, whatever. Anyways, so he starts by saying, well, maybe we should be buying you, and kind of disrupting the deal. And he said, I didn't get where I got by following the rules. And I thought, oh man, here's business Emmett. Like, Emmett's about to show me why he owns a multi-million-dollar corporation, and
because we haven't seen much of that yet. Like, we've seen no indication that this guy can run his own life, much less a huge multi-million-dollar company.
Right. And so I thought, oh, we're gonna get business Emmett. This will be great. But then that just doesn't happen, and he just starts making lewd and strange comments at the table that get the lady interested. And then he sees Winnie, and then he freaks out, and his heart starts racing, and then he just melts.
He starts to have that sort of PTSD hearing thing where it's like he's in a tunnel sort of thing.
Everything gets toned out except a ring as Sai calls him to the cop, and the lady smiles at him where are you going?
Yeah,
he's not even paying attention to her.
All right, I want to talk about Goldfarb for a second, actually, because. There's a lot to possibly pull apart here, and I've read some theories online about possibly with her. So, for example, Sai at some points is mentioning that it's not great, obviously, that they're gonna dump this huge pile of steaming shit that is their business on Goldfarb, but still it's a bad situation, so better her than them, essentially.
Right.
But, I mean, Goldfarb seems pretty capable, and isn't there a distinct possibility, and wouldn't it be so Fargo-esque if Goldfarb ended up being the one to kind of, take down these members of the mob? And, we look at her as being, this poor, helpless victim who's gonna stumble into this business and have, all these dealings with this horrible international mafia sort of thing.
Right.
But who knows? Maybe she works for a rival. I don't know.
Two thoughts then. She could, one, be in on it and be trying to buy the company because she's actually just trying to get closer to Varga. Or
Possibly.
Two, she has no idea about Varga, but the second that she takes over the company and Varga starts to threaten her, she just has having none of it and just shoots him in the face or some shit.
Something like that, yeah. And plus, just to keep with the Peter and the Wolf thing, the motif of this hunting lodge restaurant that they're constantly meeting in. Well, first off, it's like a hunting lodge, and there's a shitload of bear skins around, even right up behind her. So, kind of makes you wonder, I don't know, maybe she's a more powerful animal in the wilderness than even the wolf. So
poetry, Adam.
Yeah, I'm just throwing it out there.
This is 12th grade literature class, AP Lit, and you're diving into the symbolism and shit. You're right. That's
12th grade
cool.
might be very kind. I don't know if that was tickling anywhere past 3rd, 4th grade. So,
but that's really, really interesting. Well, so they continue to play with the Peter and the Wolf thing as well, because later, I think it's at the end of the episode, the Russian is wearing a wolf outfit. And falls
did you
into the
see
bus.
during that scene that did you recognize or do you remember Mr. Wrench?
Yeah, I mean, so we're at the end of the episode now, but yeah, that's from season 1, right? Is it the deaf guy?
Yes, that is exactly right. And he's actually in the 10th episode of season 2 as well. So what? I believe, and I could absolutely be wrong, but to the best of my recollection, he is the only character who has appeared in all 3 seasons now.
Huh.
Yeah, because he's in the finale. He shows up at the hotel, I believe, at the end
of season 2.
Yeah,
that's interesting. But that's 30 years in the past.
I think that hold on, give me just 1 second. I had it. I was just reading about it here a little bit ago.
Right, that would just be an interesting sort of cross generational character. He shows up in all of this.
Mr. Wrench. Oh, this is fascinating. People love when we have to start looking stuff
Oh,
up.
we start
when we're on
Googling
there.
things.
Okay, I got to pull it up. You ready?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so in season 1, that's the one that he's mainly in. We see him in episodes 2 through 8. In season 2, he is in the 10th episode, which is called Palindrome. And cool. Let's see, we see that he's got a bunch of people that he's killed. Yeah, I mean, he's definitely
cool.
in all 3 seasons. Yeah,
I gotta go back and look at that. I'm sure I recognized him in the moment, but now looking back, it seems weird to me that he'd be in all of them. That's so cool.
Man, by the way, the Fargo wiki page is the most pop-up addled page I've been on in my entire life.
How else are they going to get ad revenue?
Fun.
Who's paying to hold up the Fargo wiki page, Adam? Are you going to invest
fair.
in that?
That is fair. That
Are
is
you
fair.
giving them money? No.
No, you know what? Okay, I'll give him that.
Yeah, the damn Legend 27 is giving them money, probably.
Yeah. Okay, so while we're talking about technology, can we mention that there is more stuff with Gloria and technology this episode?
Well, so this leads to the whole conversation now about who the fuck this guy is in the jail cell. So there's a whole new mystery posited to us in episode 7 of this season, which just tickles me a little bit. I like new mysteries over halfway through the season. But
agreed,
either way,
yes.
Nikki's locked up for the murder of Ray, which she didn't do, and while she's in prison is visited by mysterious guy who I know from other shows but can't recall off the top of my head.
I think his name is DJ Qualls.
Do you know what he's from?
Road Trip is what I remember him as.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure that's not what I remember. But regardless, yeah. And so, but
he's also in The New Guy. He's also in My Name Is Earl.
No, and
those are the only things I remember him in. He might be in Freddy Got Fingered.
I will find. I see him here, DJ Qualls. More googling in the middle of. Oh, Man in the High Castle. That's how I know
I have
him.
not seen.
Yep, Man in the High Castle. But regardless, he comes in dressed as a cop and tries to stab Nikki in like the hand with a needle. And then as Gloria's there trying to take him down, he just kicks her and runs out of the room.
Yeah, well done. I mean, she is like, honestly, she's about 10 feet away from him when that exchange occurs. And then, like, I don't know how he covers that ground that quickly.
I don't know, but it's
pathetic. But don't you think that's pathetic that she wasn't able to pop him in the leg real quick or something?
Yeah. So who is this, Adam? Who's trying to kill Nikki here?
Well, it's tough to say, but I mean, the logical choice of what I think you're at least supposed to believe is that it's somebody coming from from Varga's organization, right? I mean, that would be the on the nose way to look at it.
Then why not send the 2 people that we consistently see him send to do his dirty work?
That is a fair point, and I guess that's why I phrase it the way that I do, because it doesn't feel totally in line with everything else that they've done, and I suppose that's a big part of the reason why, because they have gone outside of their normal I guess employment of who they're using. But I mean, you would at this point nobody else has been introduced that would be a threat to Nikki's safety like that, right?
That's true. No, not that I can think of. No.
I mean, unless maybe it's like a collection agent from like the motel because she didn't pay for her night stay the night before or something.
Well, I'm thinking like back in Nikki's life, like before getting arrested, maybe something back there. But I mean, that's a whole lot of story to throw on us this late in the season.
Agreed. Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't know. I like the little mystery. Regardless, no one believes Gloria or Nikki that there was anyone else in the room.
Shocking, by the way, that the video camera in there does not work when Gloria's around. A piece of technology, again, does not work when Gloria is in the room. Now, obviously, we're supposed to think that it was hacked or something like that. It's even mentioned in the dialogue. But I do think that there, again, is something to that.
Oh,
that
there's
she is in the
certainly a
room and technology has failed.
It's the first thing that I thought. When it started going haywire, I'm like, oh, God, it's because Gloria's around.
Yes.
You know? And at this point, her ineptitude with technology, which is literally causing technology to fail all around her, is actually making her life far, far harder.
Absolutely it is.
So I don't know if that's the point. It's like, hey, embrace technology or things are shit, because that's how things are for Gloria right now. It's like your life would be way easier. You could communicate with people. They would believe you.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the situation that they're in. And that's, I don't know if we're building up to something. I'm sure we're building up to a payoff on that, but.
Let me ask you something. Just in general, and I mean Varga, Yuri, the Asian henchman, just in general, the baddies from this season. How do you think that they stack up to previous seasons?
Well, I have a secondary question really quick. Have you seen Wonder Woman?
I have not. I am possibly going to be seeing it tomorrow morning at 11 with Philosopher.
Okay, all right. So then I won't dive down the path that I was going to, but then I will next week.
You've already seen it?
I saw last night. Yeah.
Okay, just don't give me like a whole thing because I want to have like kind of
Superhero
new
movies,
expectations.
It was a 9.
Oh, that's awesome. That is really
easily.
cool.
Yeah,
I saw Logan this last week, and it same for me. It was a very solid
Logan's
9,
fantastic.
maybe more.
Yeah. Logan's amazing. And I think that might actually be that 10 type of.
Oh my
superhero
God,
movie.
I'm so happy to hear that it's that. I mean, of all movies, you would not have thought that Wonder Woman would have been the DC movie that finally fucking did it.
It's so good. It's so fun. It's really, really good.
And I will say that Gal Gadot is drop dead gorgeous, and honestly, well cast for the physicality of it as well.
She is. I didn't even mind. I thought throwing in a random male lead in Chris Pine was going to be annoying, but he was very likable.
He is actually really likable. He had this in his opening for Saturday Night Live when he was hosting a month or so ago about how interchangeable he is with
with all
Chris
the other
Pratt
Chris's.
and Chris Evans and Chris Hemsworth, and man, it was a really funny skit.
Yeah, and so just I won't say anything more, but definitely see it, and it's a fun ride.
Okay.
And I mean I'd watch the damn movie again, but
Nice. Okay.
Yeah. But
all right,
anyways,
so back to the baddies. What do you think?
Yes, the baddies. I am not as threatened, I think, by this group of bad guys as I have been in the past. And I don't know why. There are a few elements I can think of that I've addressed in past episodes. One, Lauren Malvo to me felt like this embodiment of the devil, almost like if he teleported somewhere, like if he just disappeared and showed up on the other end of the globe, like it wouldn't surprise me. I'd be like, oh yeah, that's because he's not human. He's actually physically the embodiment of evil. Like, and there was something mysterious to that was just so good. Season 2 had this mysterious organization that you were kind of like wondering about, and it gave this question behind it. And Varga
and we had
that.
multiple factions of bad guys who were pitted against each other as well, which made and one of them was this shapeless behind the shadows organization like you're talking about. But the other one is like a family, just the local mafia sort of thing.
Gerhardts. Just the Gerhardts.
And so that is way more multi-dimensional, just by pure fact that there are multiple factions, but also that those factions have airs of mystery about them, or one of them is like, it's a family thing, and so there's that. This one is kind of like, I mean, what motivations have we seen, period, other than money?
So it's
just money.
That's it. And really, it's just Varga. I don't even know what the money looks like for his henchmen. They just seem to be mindless, brainless henchmen, and he seems to be the brains of the operation who's really going for just money. That's it. And so it could surprise us, like, in the end, and we find out what he's actually been doing this whole time, or who he's been involved with the whole time, and we go like, oh my God, he's actually a part of this. But, like, the mystery for me isn't there. It just seems like a dickbag who wants money and has overridden this company to get it.
Yes. Now, but I mean, we're talking about, kind of like the feeling of what these guys are and how they're written in. I will say their actual scenes are good. Like, Varga is captivating on screen. And honestly, the scene with Yuri in the library with that deputy, that was like one of my favorite scenes of this entire season so far. That was so scary.
So the cool part about this episode for me, because I really did like this episode,
I did too.
It's very suspenseful, and they drive that home. Like, this episode is meant to be dark, suspenseful, and you're not meant to know what happens next. You know, you're meant to kind of always be on the edge of your seat with, is something about to happen that's really bad? And every scene in this episode, from start to finish, happens at night. So there is no daytime footage in this episode.
I didn't catch that.
Mm-hmm. And so I wondered halfway through why I was feeling so suspenseful. And there's sort of these like blue overtones a little bit when they're in the police station and stuff like that. But regardless, even up to the end when Nikki's in the bus and it flips over, she's being driven there at night. And so this suspensefulness of this episode just really hit home for me. And that scene you're talking about was the pinnacle one.
Yeah, the intimidation scene. I mean, because it felt so real, because you're seeing that play out basically through the eyes and kind of like the sensibility of a really small town, like, does not have to deal with like intense moments of violence or threats or intimidation, and he's just in there all by himself. It is a very human moment. So like, you're not just looking at like some shitty cardboard characterization of a police officer, kind of like you are with the police captain,
right?
But you're actually looking at somebody where it's like, yeah, I mean, maybe if this was like a grizzled NYPD officer, you know, they'll kind of get into soldier mode even a little bit in this. But
this guy's just a dude.
Yes,
this is
Eden Valley,
dude from
he's
Minnesota.
in the library.
Yeah, who's a cop in the library. Now, I will say, bad on the Russian guy for not waiting until the dude had actually left to go into the police station. Like,
seems a little sloppy, yeah.
He jumped the gun a little bit. Like, the guy went out.
90 seconds, man. Come on.
Just give it some time. But no, he went in and got himself caught and put himself in a bad situation. So, you know, bad on him. If he's who I'm supposed to root for.
I agree.
But he like also like spins a chair like as the cop walks in, right?
Yeah, that was a little sloppy as well. I've never gotten up from a chair where it had to do a solid 15 revolutions after I got up.
Yeah, this is not his best work.
No, definitely not. Considering he's flipping fucking buses at the end of the episode, and the fact that he can't even get up out of a swivel chair without sending on a carousel ride of a lifetime, I just don't know about that.
But again, at the end of it, he grabs his wolf hat, his like wolf, head, and then walks out. So again,
that is cool.
We're referencing the wolf thing, so I think that's so cool that we're getting that over and over again.
Totally. Okay, let's throw over real quick to Kristen, who has another Darn Tootin' segment. We'll throw to a quick ad after that, and then we'll get back and finish up talking about some of the other parts of the show. The Christmas presents I want to talk about, the bus flipping scene, and so we'll go ahead and get into all that.
Darn Tootin'. Hey there. Ho there. I've got people interrupting me, but that's okay. No worries. This is Kristen with your Darn Tootin' Fargo facts. Did you know that in Season 2, Episode 9, that's actually narrated by Martin Freeman? That's right. Good old Lester Nygaard talked about it the whole time. Also, did you know that the creator, Noah Hawley, created FX's Legion also? Pretty crazy. And last fact of the day, the fox, rabbit, and cabbage question posed by Pepper and Budge to Lester is the exact same question posed to Martin Freeman, aka Lester, and his colleagues in The Office, the show from UK in 2001. Anyway, in Season 1, Episode 4, Martin Freeman, who plays Tim in The Office, answered the same fox, rabbit, cabbage question. Crazy. All right, that's my Darn Tootin' facts for ya. See you later, little buddies. Darn Tootin'.
Okay, thank you very much, Kristen, as always. And you guys can check out Kristen on the Sense8 podcast, which, by the way, Sense8 completely canceled. So,
bummer.
Yeah, definitely a bummer. So they're doing great coverage on that show. Check it
canceled.
out.
As if there's like a half cancellation that can happen.
Yeah.
Sense8 completely canceled. Like they went all the way.
Well, I don't know. Community would be an example, or maybe Futurama of a show
The Killing is a show that was canceled and then uncanceled by Netflix. Yep. Okay.
Yeah. There are shows that do not get the full kibosh. So
fair enough. Hey, Amazon could buy Sense8.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah. I guess while I'm mentioning it, so we got Sense8. We also have American Gods, Better Call Saul. Obviously, you got your little Fargo podcast here. We'll probably end up having, I'm sure somebody's going to do a Wonder Woman podcast. Bethany and I actually are about to do a House of Cards podcast. We have Twin Peaks. And, God, we have a lot of coverage. That is insane.
How far into House of Cards are you this season?
I am almost halfway, and the way that we're going to cover it is first half of the season, second half of the season.
So you're just knocking it out in two. Nice.
Exactly. So tomorrow night, actually, it's Saturday night that we're recording this now. Sunday night, we're going to record the first half of the season. And God, I think we're doing Orange is the New Black next week, too.
Ooh, yay. I'm watching, and I guess I'll watch Orange is the New Black this way as well, but we got a 4K TV now, so I'm watching all the Netflix originals in 4K. And
congratulations, my friend. You deserve it.
It's so sexy. Kevin Spacey in 4K.
Have I ever told you my free TV situation?
No.
Okay. I'm not going to mention any company names because I don't want this. And let's just all say that this is alleged. This
is a fun story that Adam tells.
Yes, just a fun story that may or may not have resulted in me getting a free $1,800 television.
Holy shit! Okay,
I got a TV in on kind of like a Black Friday deal sort of thing, and I'm all excited. I get it all set up. When it finally comes in a few weeks later, watching it for a few days, and probably like day 5 or day 6, I'm looking at it and I'm like, what the fuck is that? And I go up closer, and as best as I can tell, it's like a dead pixel on the screen. Okay. Now, that is really obnoxious on any sort of sort of screen that's like a solid color at any point. You're instantly drawn to that single dead pixel. So I go through all this rigmarole of calling the TV company who it's from, not the company that I bought it from, but the TV company, and go back and forth for like a full day. I mean, I'm talking like 4 hours worth of calls, sending pictures of it, emails, all sorts of stuff. And then finally they're like, okay, hold on one second. We're going to need to put you on with the manager in the department. Hi, this is the manager from X company, allegedly. I'm sorry to inform you we are not going to be able to replace your television. What? Excuse me? This is a $1,500 TV that was marked down from even way more. Why? And what it was? A fucking dead bug had fallen down and wedged itself in between the glass and like the projector little part.
What?
And then he said, and furthermore, you're not going to be able to find anybody who's willing to work on it because like the odds of being able to get it out of there without scratching or damaging something, like nobody's going to want to touch that. So I'm just sitting here like literally out. I mean, so much. But anyway, there's obviously it's a happy ending. I've already told you the punchline of it. But anyway, so I end up calling the company that I actually bought it through, like the store. And I explained to them sort of what's going on a little bit. And so they agree they're going to send me a new TV. It's actually a nicer, more expensive one because they don't have the Black Friday deal or even carry that other TV anymore.
Yeah.
Both of them, same specs, 4K Ultra HD, 65-inch television, super sweet. They overnight it. It comes to me in the mail, but I had to pay for the second one. And then they were going to issue a refund after they came and picked up the original one. So at this point, I have 2 TVs. And nobody's giving me a call back. I'm not setting up the other one yet because I'm just basically keeping the shitty one with the bug in it, until they're going to pick it up. So weeks go by. I'm emailing, I'm calling, and at first I'm actually getting responses from the guy who I'd spoken with. And then eventually that stopped. And so after about 6 months, I decided, okay, well, I'll take the other TV out of the box. And now here I am about 2 years later, a year and a half later. And I have 2 4K Ultra HD 65-inch TVs. And about a month into it, I guess I should have mentioned this, I got them to go ahead and refund me the money for buying the second TV. So that's why it is a free TV.
Okay, because you never actually got a refund for the first TV.
I didn't get a refund for the first TV, but that's only because they were giving me the second one. So it's basically
you got,
like I'm paying for one.
For $1,500 or $1,800 or whatever, you got two.
That is exactly right. I got two TVs, the second one of which was actually more expensive.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Well done. Well, hey, applause.
Yeah,
Very
and
good.
you know what? I am like the ultimate, like, the guy that always gets shit on, just life is so unkind, like, woe is me, and then this is my story of, like, my one moment of greatness, like, etch it on my fucking headstone sort of thing.
Dude, just says on your gravestone, dude got two TVs. Well done.
Could you imagine trying to etch in that whole long-winded story I just told?
UHD
Like, I need my
4K.
headstone to be about, like, 16 feet tall and just, like, write it down scribe style.
Oh, man. All right, I have a thing I want to talk about.
Yeah, I was gonna say let's talk some Fargo. I got way off course there.
No, you're good. That's an amazing story. I have all sorts of stories of buying my TV, which was not a fun experience, but I won't.
Oh no. Okay.
Oh yeah.
We'll save that for
another
the
podcast.
Patreon member.
A hangout. Okay.
That's a big selling point for you guys to donate.
To hear Nathan's story about buying his TV. All right. So I have someone I want to chat about. So Nikki gets brought in, and she gets questioned. And she gets questioned about the reason that she would be with someone like Ray. And she doesn't immediately come to Ray's defense, nor say that it was love or anything like that. She gets blamed by the chief, saying that she was basically just, sleeping her way out of probation.
True.
And then she kind of just stays quiet. What did you get from that?
I thought she was just being smart, that she didn't want to implicate herself by saying anything. The only thing she really says is that she wants a lawyer. I thought she was just playing it cool, but I mean, as the audience, of course, we at least wonder the same thing. I mean, there are moments where you're like, oh no, this seems like a real, authentic, genuine affection she has for him. But then there's a lot of times where you're like, I mean, I get what all these other people are saying. Like, she is like a banging hot lady, and he is a middle-aged, beer belly, mullet, like wispy toting, like, I don't know, hick, basically.
Yeah, and so, I mean, it would be interesting this far in to realize that there's more to the reason that she did that, but there's enough moments when you see them together in the first 6 episodes that you kind of buy it. Like, even her reaction when he proposed, like, it seemed so genuine. And what does she stand to gain from accepting that? I don't know, like, ultimately, her plan would have had to have been to leave him or kill him if she had some like, ulterior motive.
I agree. I think that she genuinely felt that way about him, although I feel fairly confident that the whole thing probably did start under auspicious circumstances or motivations.
Sure. Yeah. He was taking advantage of somebody who was willing because of the situation, and then it turned into something larger.
Absolutely. Totally.
All right,
agreed.
fine. We're agreed on that. We don't want to condemn Nikki quite yet.
Here.
All right, cool. That's my point. That's all. That's my whole.
Okay, very good. So let's stick with Nikki here for a second and talk about the bus flipping scene. Honestly, let's just talk about like the technical shot of it, like of the bus actually flipping and the way that the camera kind of went with it, so that the camera sort of remains level, but you're seeing essentially just a gravity change within it. I'm just curious, what did you think?
Well, I thought that was amazing. One, my first thought when the bus flips is that, like, the Russian dude, in order to get the bus to flip, his plan was so, like, so precise. He goes, here's how I'm going to do. To get the bus to flip, I'm going to walk out into the woods in the middle of the night, and then when the bus is coming down, I'm just going to slowly walk like a deer into the road. And then the bus flips. Like,
the Asian guy's like, do you want to have like a plan B maybe? Where like, I don't know, where we put down like some spike strips or something like that?
No, man.
No.
He just walks out in his sports coat or his sports jacket and his wolf head.
It's absolutely insane.
But so circumstances like this always make you wonder how they could have filmed it, and there are a lot of interesting ways you can build up a rig like a bus to sort of flip on a sound stage and sort of twist around, because gravity definitely changes in terms of this bus. Like, they go from sitting in their chairs to lying on the side, and then the camera turns in a oneer, the camera turns, and now we reorient ourselves with this new way of looking at things. So it was so cool, very well executed, and again in an episode that was all about suspense. What a cool payoff at the end to have this giant sort of explosion happen. Also makes you wonder if that guy's dead. Is Deaf Guy dead?
Deaf Guy, I can't imagine him being dead. In fact, if anything, I could kind of see, wouldn't it sort of be Fargo-esque if he was somehow in there to safely escort her, or in some way, shape, or form is pitted against the other mafia? You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
Like, wouldn't that kind of work out in terms of like who he was pitted against in previous seasons, if he kind of was the one up against the Shadow Organization?
Yeah. That could be interesting.
I don't know. There's nothing fleshed out there. That was just my initial thing after watching it was I could see him kind of end up being like a third party sort of thing to it.
They wanted you to recall him. Like he's purposeful. He's not just an Easter egg, because it pans over to her sitting next to him, and then you immediately begin that like drum solo music that has played in the past 2 seasons.
Totally, yes.
So good. But it's meant to recall you back to, which is cool because I don't think they played that music this season. And when they play it, you go, "Oh shit! Past seasons, I remember this guy. Oh my god!" Yeah,
and, it definitely hits you with like a strong wave of like nostalgia.
And
sort
they
of
wanted
for the,
that.
Agreed, totally. It was intentional.
I'm also seeing that there are more than just the wolf guy, more than just the Russian walking up to the bus. There are like 3 people who walk out of the woods.
Yeah, I thought I saw that too. I thought that I saw a third person.
There is a third person, so it's not just him and the Asian guy. Maybe it's our mystery.
I was just gonna say DJ.
Yeah, DJ. Yep. Man in the High Castle.
Yeah, that's Man in the High Castle. What did I say that I knew him from? Road Trip.
Road Trip. Yeah.
Why do you have to have all the highbrow ones and I have to have like the shitty MTV jock jams?
I'm above that.
Shit?
You said Road Trip, and I'm like, what is that?
Guy,
don't even know that film.
I hear you over there sipping off your snifter with your pinky out as you're throwing your nose up in the air at me.
Did that premiere at Cannes? I don't remember that.
Oh, God. I hate it. I hate it so much.
Sorry.
No, it's all good. All right, so... dude, I feel really bad for Sai because he gets shit on by Varga harder than anybody else.
Yes, he does.
He is on the front grounds of the conflict with Ray and Nikki, and he's doing it all for Emmett, who is now being pitted against him by Varga. And when he goes home and his wife is undressing him and like their daily ritual sort of thing, and is just talking up a storm, not even noticing, and he's just sobbing and then starts saying stuff to the effect of like, I don't recognize my world anymore and all this stuff. Like that was just a really well done scene. Like I
agree.
He's a good actor. Like I felt like emotionally invested in that scene.
Yeah, I 100% agree. And I'm realizing, and I realized in the middle of this episode, that Sai is someone we're meant to be kind of rooting for, and more so than a lot of like characters in past seasons who were like kind of good guys, kind of bad guys. Like he's to me is a stand-up dude in a bad situation. And,
I don't think he's done anything flat out wrong other than rage driving into Ray's car, right? Isn't that the only thing? But that seems kind of like, I mean, obviously it's bad. It's a misdemeanor or whatever.
But you've got these people kind of breaking bad. In Fargo in general, you've got good people who do bad things because of the situation that they're put in. Those people are ultimately punished kind of for the bad things that they've done, despite what good people they might be. But I don't want that for Sai. Because also, so when Emmett and Sai, when Sai drives Emmett home, and Emmett just starts shitting on him in the car and saying, like, maybe you're in on it. Maybe it's you I got to watch out for, and like having that whole conversation. I think like a part of me went, Sai, this sucks. And then Sai like stood up for himself like really well. It was like, he didn't have, like, I would expect Emmett to be like, Sai, maybe it's you. And him be like, what? No, not me. What are you talking about? No.
I've been here drinking all night.
Yeah, right, that kind of shit. But instead, Sai basically looks at him and just goes, are you fucking crazy? Like,
Yeah.
how does that even make sense? There's no logical reason for me to be pitted against you. That doesn't
So
make
nice
sense.
for him to finally find his voice and be able to articulate his thoughts.
Yes. So I loved that scene, but ultimately it didn't really help Sai because he still goes home and cries.
No, agreed. Well, sticking with where we're at right there. So Emmett ends up going into the house, and actually we see Varga peeking out of the window down at Sai. Sai sees him. Why do you think that Varga was opening the presents and then rewrapping them?
Maybe just to show he could. Like when I saw him ripping open the presents in the beginning, I thought maybe he was just opening them. That was my thought, just because to show power, to be like, these are mine. All of this is mine. Anything that's yours is mine. And I didn't realize at that moment that he was going to rewrap them. I just thought he was just like whipping his dick out and showing Emmett that he can do that if he wants.
Yeah.
But I have no idea. Just he has these weird rituals. This insane curiosity. Like, because he's not
There's
only
some
opening
kind
the
of
presents,
parallel between him eating a giant meal and then vomiting it up, and him opening a bunch of presents and then just wrapping them back up too.
and the teeth thing, right? Like
Yeah.
Like, it's all of these little weird rituals. But like, and he opens them up and like he tries the perfume.
Yeah.
He's not just looking at what they are. He wants to know about them. And I don't know.
Another
I
part
can't
of it
come
might
up with
be
reason.
it does seem like a big part of what he does is based on intel gathering.
Yeah.
So part of me maybe wondered if he was checking all the presents just because he wants to leave no nook and cranny untouched.
Oh, that could be it. Like Emmett had hidden something in a present he knew no one would open.
Something. I don't know. I had a few thoughts on it. None of them could I possibly tell you 100% sure are, but I don't know. Those were kind of the things that went through my head with it.
But so you don't see him rewrapping them. You just see Emmett coming back into the house and all the presents are wrapped again, right?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, because honestly, in my head when I watched it, I just assumed we had seen those scenes out of order. But no.
Oh, okay, I gotcha.
Yeah. No, but, and might I highlight as well, this is a true story stuff that happens in the beginning. Mentioned very early on in this season that story is the last thing that fades out, or like true fades out first. That, as the episodes go on, is getting progressively more obvious. Like they're hanging on these words longer. I don't know if you noticed.
I did not catch that at all. No,
Yeah,
that's pretty
so, like,
interesting.
Now, instead of, it was just that like true would fade out, so it would say this is a story, and then this, and then is, and then story, all together kind of in a row.
Yeah.
And now, like, true fades out, and for like a while it hangs on it, and then it fades everything else out, and just story hangs out in the air.
Dude,
like,
that's a really good catch. I'm gonna have to pay attention to that.
It's just interesting to me that they're subtly, because I don't think they've played with this to this extent in past seasons, that they're really playing with these title cards to highlight that this is sort of a fairy tale, a Minnesota fairy tale kind of thing.
Damn, that's very interesting. I honest to God had not caught that.
I'll keep my sleuth eye on it. I'll keep paying attention as the episodes go on.
I can tell that Pinky's just like getting super erect over there as he's sniffing on his
no
scotch.
idea.
Okay, I've gone over pretty much everything that I wanted to touch on with the episode. Have we missed any major parts or any other small little aspects you wanted to cover?
No, those are all the big parts. We sort of hit everything that I had intended to hit as we talked through this. I mean, the big thing for me is I think this episode is a really good example of like an episode of a TV show. Some TV shows struggle to tell their story episodically and instead just opt to tell you stories and then just cut it off after 40 minutes and then just tell you a little bit more and cut it off after 40 minutes. And this was like 40 great minutes of cohesive thematic storytelling. It's dark, it's suspenseful, it moves the plot along. And so I thought that the decision to put it all at night and just sort of solidify this episode as, oh yeah, the one that was at night with all of the suspenseful scenes.
Yeah.
I'll remember this episode for that reason.
Yeah, and honestly, just because let's pull it back and look at the scope of the whole season. I still think because of like the flub of maybe episodes 2, 3, and 4, or maybe 3, 4, and 5. that the season isn't as good as the first two, but I will say these last two episodes have been absolute Fargo gold standard. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
I agree.
There have been no drop in quality from previous seasons. So I'm just like, I'm back on the hype machine
me
of
too.
how's this all gonna play out.
Well, and I know in our final episode we'll wind up comparing this season to the other two, and we can't really 100%.
It's
do
inevitable.
That now.
It's
yeah,
the law
we'll
of
have that
inevitability.
conversation. But I'm with you. I agree. It was a miss for a while, and I'm in it now, and I'm super excited still.
Totally. Okay, so again, you guys can check us out on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, and Reddit. Thank you so much for listening. If you have any thoughts, theories, or want to dispute anything that we've brought up, whether you want to do it nicely or whether you want to go the typical
I'm often
YouTube
wrong.
route. Yeah, we accept your criticisms. So send them in by any of those methods. And again, I mentioned the Patreon page. Even just $1 a month pledge does a ton for us in terms of being able to continue to grow the podcast and increase the production quality, which is really like the main reason when we're storing up our ad dollars and things like that.
Cool.
So anyway, Nathan, I think you know what comes next. Would you like to tie a bow on this bitch?
I would. See you next time, little buddies.